All right, how's it going, guys? This is Coach Pickerton, head baseball coach at Sharyland High School. Also, I do a lot of different things for the Texas High School Baseball Coach Association. Probably see a lot of messages from me on Sports U and things like that. And we're kind of still stuck down here in the Valley. We're still kind of the hot spot of really the whole United States. So we haven't been able to see our kids, and we haven't been able to practice, and hopefully we're going to be able to get back at the end of October. So this presentation is going to be a little bit different because I can't go out and give you live, or I can't go out and get you video of the different things that we do in practice. So, I was trying to figure out what I could do while I'm kind of stuck here at South Padre Island. My kids are there in Mission, so we're kind of separated by an hour and a half. So, I wanted to kind of empty out all the different things that we do for practice organization, game organization, things that we use to kind of save time. So I'm kind of just emptying out the computer really, and a lot of it's going to be stuff that we just started due to the fact that we don't really get to see our kids. So it's all right now. It's all Google Meets with our kids. So it's been a challenge for us, really coming up with different things other than their workouts that we do with them through the Google Meets. But did come up with a lot of different stuff. It was mainly just stuff that we used in class for teaching. So it's things that we're going to use from here on in. A lot of stuff is stuff that we've been using forever, but some of the teaching techniques, kind of translated over into us with this distance learning. And all this stuff you guys can use in your study halls, in your classes. Hopefully a lot of this stuff that you can use really to save time is why I do all the different things that I do, really tech-wise and things like that. And all the stuff I'm going to do is very simple. The ones that aren't very simple, you can always get a hold of me, and I'll help you out with it. I have people call all the time and ask to help out on different programs and stuff on their computer. So I'm willing to do that at any time. I've got my Padre hat on, my favorite Padre hat on. I don't have my brown one on right now. And you guys will see this later on, but Padres just lost last night to the Dodgers 5-1. So kind of a sad day, kind of tired from being up all night. So hopefully you can get something out of this. Really, it's going to be, things that we do to kind of meet kids halfway. As well as I do that at this point in time, the kids have their phone with them at all times. So, why not make it, why not make all your practice organization, all your videos, everything, kind of fit, try and meet them halfway, try and fit into what their lives are like now. And that's really what we've done with charts and practice, using YouTube, all the different types of apps that we could possibly use. That way, you're starting to push a lot of that learning back onto the kids, and it's really their responsibility. And that's what a lot of this has been for us over this break, is really the kids being responsible for what they're doing, and the ones that it's important, they'll do it, and the ones that it doesn't really matter to them, they're not going to do it. But that's always been that way. So hopefully some of this stuff you can use. So really what I'm going to cover is practice and game organization. So we use Excel pretty much for everything, because it's plug and play. So the best part about it is that whenever I want to change something, I can immediately change it. I had a podcast over the summer, and I thought it was really interesting the way Coach talked about all of his drills. He says, I've got 300 drills, and all I do is I just plug and play. So that day when I need to change a drill out, I can just change it. So for us, Microsoft Excel is perfect for that. Some of you guys might be using Google Sheets. I use it all the time also. And actually this is coming off a Google Slides, just a little bit easier than PowerPoint. But for us, practice organization, then I'll show you some game stuff that really saves a lot of time for us. And some of you have them already. It's the actual lineup card where all you have to do is type in the first lineup, and your 1 through 9, and it changes the whole form. So I'm going to go over a lot of different Excel stuff that we use, and how we use it. Player videos. This was a thing that we really got into last year. all the different technology that's coming out now. Used a lot of pocket radar last year, but what we ended up having to do during this break is not break, the distance learning is a lot of self-grading. So what we did is we just kind of turned it over to the kids. I would show them a video that I wanted to be highlighted, and then they would film themselves, and then they would have to break it down. And so we were checking for understanding. We were kind of shocked at a lot of the different things that we thought that they understood, but then when they show it on the video, it's completely different. So instead of just sitting there and just going over one kid at a time, like I'm sure many of you have done, which I've done several times, and everybody else kind of getting bored to death, we made them do it. So they're breaking it down after we covered something. We also use Flipgrid. We use Flipgrid for the videos. That was a real simple one, and it was great. And that was one of the things that came over from teaching. Huddle, of course, we use all the time. And then we ended up using Screencastify, which I'm using right now for this video. And so the kids, again, they're going to learn something out of it. Also, they're going to get something out of it that they can use later on. But we use really those three more than anything else. Player exposure. A funny story last year is, we had a kid who I always thought was a D1 hitter ever since he got here. That we couldn't find a place for him to play. He was a senior last year, and he was kind of playing to find a spot somewhere. And we put him on Twitter. We had his swing. I think we even went pocket radar with him a couple of times to show his exit velo, and got a call the next day. And he was offered a full ride. So it can make a huge difference. Twitter can make a huge difference, especially if you got some of that blast motion, or we use Swing Tracker last year, but we're moving over to blast motion, to track our kids, and I'll show you a little bit of that also. But Twitter makes a big difference. We did have a kid get a scholarship, a full ride, okay, because of Twitter. And the strange thing is he was offered a full ride, and then another coach called 2 days later and offered him a full ride also. So he got 2 full rides without even meeting any of the coaches or anything like that. And he ended up taking the second one. So Twitter makes a big difference. Virtual Combine was, we got to use it for free over the summer for our seniors. Some of you guys might have taken advantage of that. Some of you guys didn't. But it's amazing for me. Just the graphics and everything else that they use, and the way they're comparing different kids is pretty amazing. Field Level is free, and Field Level helped me out a lot this summer. I was getting calls pretty much 2 or 3 times a week, or emails or messages from coaches. Hey, we saw your kid's video on Field Level, and so I want to say 2 guys probably got picked up because of Field Level. So that's a big one also. Blast Motion, got to use it a little bit. I have it. I have the subscription, everything ready to go. We just haven't been able to get to the kids, but I did get to do one of our players over the summer, one of our seniors. So I'll show you a little bit of that. And then Pocket Radar is, especially the smart one, that's what we're using. So we're using the smart Pocket Radar for everything, and it really just makes competition between your kids a lot easier. They're looking at exit velos. It's just kind of what baseball has become now. So the smart Pocket Radar has made a big difference in what we can show on Twitter, really, to tell you the truth. All right, then we've done a lot of testing for baseball IQ, and we did a lot of character building stuff during this time. Had to fill in a lot of space, a lot of time. So some of the things we used were Edpuzzle. We used the 2 words program, and I broke down the videos and put it into Edpuzzle. That way the kids would be quizzed over it. And then we used a lot of Quizlet, which I'll show you those 3 also. Communication, what we use for communication is real simple. We use SportsU, that should be spelled right. SportsU and Google Classroom. I think the thing changed it on me once I got in there. But SportsU is amazing. A lot of you guys are taking advantage of that. And I use it for my players and parents. Very easy to send things out. And then Google Classroom, since we are still virtual teaching, virtual and distance learning, Google Classroom has really taken off for us. We didn't use it very much last year. We used all SportsU But since I already had all the kids integrated into our Google Classroom through school, we use a lot of Google Classroom, and I'll show you that also. And then the last one, of course, the big one is YouTube. And YouTube, we have our own Shareland baseball channel. There's a lot of different things you can do with it, but really just for understanding for the kids what you're trying to present to them, that's something they can go back and look at over and over and over again. All right, so we pretty much use Excel for everything when we're doing our practicing, charting, also our game organization. So again, for us, it's just a lot easier to plug and play if we want to switch out a drill, or of course, if we're switching out players and things like that during the game. So, 2 examples down here. These are our drill series, our defensive drill series that we have on Excel. And let me get out of this real quick. So this is an example of our practice, a basic pretty much practice plan by anybody's terms. But again, with Excel, it's so easy just to come in and change whatever we need to, whatever drill we need to. So we have our daily workout, and then the other tab over here down at the bottom is the weekly workout. And I'll go over the daily first because we do it a little bit different. So everything up here is the same. Date, our objective, luckily for the kids that day, was they were gonna hit, and then they were gonna hit again after school. Quote of the week, I just put that on there. Most of the time we get that from John Gordon. So we have it in segments. I don't really break down the times or anything like that. I don't get that specific. But really what we do is we have a class. So I usually have 2 segments for class. Sometimes I don't use the whole thing like on this one, and just set up for make the lineup, which is going to be after school. But what you have here is this is what we're doing in class. Luckily for us, we do have an hour-and-a-half block. Some days we have study hall. Some days we don't get to go out for the full time. But this day we probably went out the whole time. That way we can pretty much get a whole practice in, luckily for us. So what you have here is our activity that we're doing. Okay, JVs end up getting ground balls and fly balls for the game. So they're just kind of there getting fungo, things like that. And the varsity's doing Survivor BP. And what you see up here, this is probably a little bit different than what a lot of other people do. We make our kids accountable for a lot of stuff. So really with ours, everything has a link. So what you'll see here is really what we have is these third basemans are pretty much playing it live. Shortstop, second baseman, first baseman, they're all getting fungo from the other guys that are over here on the on deck circles. That way everybody's getting So really at any time, the kids can go in and again, we go over this through practice, but at any time they can go into YouTube and see exactly how to set it up, what we're looking for, what the coaches are looking at, how the whole practice works, how the BP works. So again, what I think makes what we do a little bit different is we have links to everything. I'm sure there's other coaches who do the same. And then for C list, what that'll mean is the kids will be able to come in and they'll see where they're hitting. So Jose was the first guy up, Abraham was second, Martin was third, and Zuniga was hitting fourth. And this is how we set it up. If you want to know how to run Survivor BP, it's kind of a knockout thing, but it's there on YouTube. You can go to my channel and you can see how we run that practice. Okay, so that's, I think, what makes it a little bit different is, again, the kids are responsible for seeing that list. So this goes out at 7 o'clock every morning. I get there, I get to school, and all this is given to the kids in Sports U. So they're going to be responsible for, okay, maybe I don't remember what we did in Survivor. Boom, here it is. And they've got to know where they're hitting. So, we're going to put that chart up, that chart that you see here. This is going to be put up in the dugout and down by the cages. So it's going to be in 2 different spots, but they're responsible for knowing where they're hitting, when they're hitting, and things like that. So it kind of takes a lot of that guesswork out of there. Kids aren't asking you, hey, when am I hitting, stuff like that. So in the rest of the class, so we did the Survivor BP, JV guys are getting ground balls, fly balls. And then right at the end, we're going to set up for make the lineup, because that's what we're going to do after school. So after school, we came out, we did active warm-up, and then we went straight into make the lineup. And just like I had up at the top, okay, so make the lineup. They can go into YouTube again.
Make the lineup.
And, you know, again, it's explaining how it's done.
The second outfielders will come in and we'll switch. So the second infield ends up coming in and playing defense. Or, you know, again, you can switch these up however you want. Just make sure you got.
Okay, so again, if you want to know how we do make the lineup, we got that from UTRGV. A lot of different groups are doing it down here now. It's great drill. Great practice plan is what it is. And then again, same thing. So this is our setup, and this is on Excel also. This is how we actually score the kids. So how many points they got, their times from home to first, we're timing all that stuff. And point wise down here, we got a lot of different things. So barrel balls is a point, sack bunt is a point, web gym is a point, RBI is a point, and each one of these guys is scored. So we'll have a coach sitting there during make the lineup, and he's actually filling all this out on really what is a piece of paper. Okay, so we're not there with the computer doing the Excel file, but it's made on Excel, and then you got minus points and things like that. So I'm not going to go over how to make the lineup. That one is also on YouTube if you guys want to go in there and look at, you know, how it's done. So then the last thing that we were doing is speed weights. And I left this without the link in it. That way you could kind of see how it's done. So in Excel, all you do is go to link, and you've got to find out where that file is. And, you know, I know where this stuff is. So I'm going to go into practice. I'm going to go into off season and weightlifting, workouts, speed weights. All I'm going to do is open up this one. Okay. And what you end up doing is, now you've got it as a link. So if I come in here again, I click on this, and it takes the kids straight to that workout that we're going to do after we played make the lineup. Okay, and each one of these also has a video on how we're doing the different workouts. Okay, so, you know, kind of getting the idea that the way we do it is, you know, everything is linked to what we're doing. Our warm-ups are down here at the bottom. So I have a section in our practice program or practice plan where these are our normal warm-ups. We are doing active that day. So you're coming in, movement over maxes, which is unbelievable. And it has each one of the warm-ups that we normally do if we're not doing active warm-up. And again, link to a video. Okay, so it's kind of the way that works. This was already, again, telling the kids what we're going to lift. So the speed weight's 4, which you just saw. And then this is for the cages. So, and we've got 2 different sets. This is the second one, so this is block 2. And got this from a podcast from Ahead of the Curve. And again, this is what I want the kids doing down in the cages, the different drills I want them to do. Otherwise, they'll just sit there and hit off a tee right down the middle for 100 swings. And again, each one of these is linked to the actual drill. So again, you know, just trying to get across that point where, you know, once the kids open that up in the morning, you know, they can look at anything. If they have a question, they can go straight to that video, because it's all linked here. And then at the bottom is just our notes, what we're going to do to set up. Group 1 is hitting the cages while we're setting everything else up on the field. That's kind of the way we do it. And then the guys that were actually getting punished right here, well, not punished, just kind of getting reminders. This guy had, you know, 10 tire flips. I don't think we ever even got him done because season was cut short. And then we actually had team running, which was 72s. We must have had 6 guys get out of the way of a pitch that week. Okay, so that's kind of our daily and how it works. And this would all be printed out on a piece of paper. It would be given to the Sports U out there. It would also be up in the dugout. And then the weekly very similar. Tells me what we're going to do in class on Monday, all the different things, games. Okay, so this was during the season. This is during our scrimmages, actually. What we're doing on Wednesday, which was Wednesday and Thursday were our only days to practice that week. We had parents meeting, but this is kind of the thing that I wanted to look at real quick. And let me zoom in a little bit. So at the bottom of our weekly practice is all the different things that we want to get done. We might not get them all done, but it just kind of keeps me on track. Okay, throwing routine with defensive fundamentals, that's every day. That one we have to do every day. Certain ones we're only doing twice a week. Certain ones we're doing 3 times a week. So catchers, Indy daily drills, they've got to do that 3 times with coach. And, I'm just kind of coming in and marking them off as they're done. Okay, that kind of keeps me organized and lets me know, okay, this is, we skipped this week. Okay, we need to make sure that we do this. A lot of guys do this. So this is just our weekly checklist, the drills that we want to do, and how many times we want to do them a week. So that kind of keeps me on track, and we put that in with our weekly plan. Okay, so another good example of what we do in Excel is for our off season. This is our off season competition, and this usually goes almost we kind of run this thing almost the whole first 18 weeks, to tell you the truth. And these are the things that we test them over and under, how many times they can go over a guy, under a guy. Pull-ups, strap reps, that's where you have the strap connected to the bar up top and you're doing a push-up. We do bench reps. We don't really do max. We do barrel speed. We do medicine ball toss. We run the 60, exit velo, coming off the tee, long toss, straight up velo, and that's pretty much run and gun right there, 15-yard shuttle. But what makes this a little bit different, and you can buy these programs, things like that, but I made my own. So looking at JC here, he went over and under 9 times, and he ends up with 3 points. Now, if you look at the top, you can see the formula that comes with it. So it's just, things greater than, less than, and it ends up giving him a certain amount of points. But so if I go in here and change it to, say he only got 1, all right, that automatically changes his points to a 0, and it actually subtracted and got him down to a 42. So let me put it back to a 9. So that's kind of the way we do our off season. These are the ones that we actually, again, test on. And if you ever need any help with this formula, it's pretty simple. I just need to change the numbers inside. But that's the way to do it. I know people who spend a lot of money. This was done for free. And it's a great way of, capturing this, putting it on Twitter and sending out the top 10, which we did every week. So, and then we have a big award at the end for the individual overall winner for our off season. So that's another great way of using Excel. Very simple. And once you have it, then you're done. You just kind of plug and play with the names. I've got their last names blacked out, but and what you have down here is the averages, so I can kind of tell where they should be and where they actually are. So that's another great example that we use with Excel. All right, so last one, kind of game preparation, how we use Excel game preparation. This is our lineup cards. It's a digital lineup card, and what I've done is whatever you type in over here is going to show up on your other 2 cards, whatever you want to call it, umpire card, and then the other team card, and you'll have an extra one. So it's a regular lineup card, and what we end up doing is I'll print this out on a card stock before the game, and then I just cut so I end up with 3 small lineups. And so if I come in here and change Jose to player 1, it's going to change him all the way across. So very simple, makes it really quick on doing, saving some time on lineup cards. And depending on how much you change your lineup, it makes it really simple because it's already there. So, and the other great thing about it is now it'll go to the dugout and it's actually showing. So I've got what we call our dugout chart, and I changed Jose, so it automatically changes there. So this is all coming from that first from that first lineup card, and ends up being on the dugout chart. I also have the pitchers that are available and how many pitches I expect them to throw. A lot of times we'll have how many pitches they have left, maybe for the tournament or maybe for the playoffs or something like that. All of our subs down here. So that's the second page. And then what I really like is the announcer sheet. So I give this whole sheet to the announcers, and anything that you put down on the subs from the original card transfers over here to the announcer sheet, and then it also will do the lineup on here. So what you're giving the announcers are subs, and then you're giving this is how we actually call them out before the game. Our announcer, help them out with what the different numbers are. The guys that don't know, telling them they need to play the national anthem at the beginning, and we play fifth inning. We play "Take Me Out to the Ball Game." So that's our announcer sheet. And then this is the one I really like, the game duties. We have all of our duties set up for our fourth sheet. These are all come out on regular piece of paper once you print them all out. So Chris had the bullpen. Two coaches had sign stealing. We had our courtesy runners already set up. So this is put in the dugout. We actually have foul balls by innings. Who's going to go chase? At our ballpark, it's really tough getting foul balls, so it's kind of a drag. And this way, the kids are already set. This comes from the subs, okay, which comes from the first three cards. And then we have for this game, guys who end up bringing the helmets, baseballs, the total choice, wiffle balls, plyo balls, chairs. So we have all this set up. This one you have to change on your own, and I just go by numbers. So these are actually, guys, in numerical order. But all this stuff is given to the kids the day of the game right here. This bottom section right here, I'll print out a small picture of it, send it on SportsU. That way, before the game, we don't really mess with it anymore. They go and get everything. They know exactly what they're responsible for. And then the roster, that's just in case a scout or something needs that. So, what you have here, another great example of saving a lot of time. It's real simple. Fill out the first one, fill out the subs here, and the rest of it will all fill out. And it all just ends up being formulas. So if you need help with that, that's another thing. It just kind of gives you the idea what you can do in Excel for your lineup cards and for game duties and everything else. So, we don't have any confusion before the game who's supposed to be getting what. And the kids kind of take care of all that stuff. They say, hey, it's your turn. You're supposed to be going and getting the stuff. And we rotate, so those guys won't be in charge. We don't do, hey, freshman, you got everything. These guys will not be in charge of picking up stuff or in charge of whatever their helmets or whatever it is. We just go by numbers. So senior, captain, whatever, everybody's responsible for, probably, but once every 3 games, they're going to end up with a responsibility. All right, so we did a lot of self-grading player videos and things like that during the distance learning, and some of the ones we used was Flipgrid. To show you real quick, Huddle. Of course, if you don't know what Huddle is, ask one of the football coaches, or you might be one yourself, and then Screencastify. And this whole presentation is being done on Screencastify right now, and it's very simple to use. So looking at some of these, really what Flipgrid is you come up with a topic, you come up with a discussion, and the kids are going to send in their responses by video. And it's very short, like 30-second, maybe 5-second videos. And that's pretty much what we did. So we would go over, we were going over live hands, we were going over separation from the on-base U video. And what we did was we gave them, that was the discussion, and they had to actually do the separation test. So in there, you get to embed. The great thing about Flipgrid, you can embed the video that you had already gone over with the kids, so they can go over it over and over and over again to see if they're getting it correct. And then what you see here is all of their responses. So these are all little short videos of them actually doing the separation test that On-Base U does, and I'll give you kind of a little taste of it. So. And in the end, what actually happens is it'll put all of them together into a mixtape. You don't have to do this, but it's kind of neat. and then you can shoot that out on whatever you want to. We shot it out on Twitter and things like that. Again, show parents that the kids were still engaged in class and things like that during athletics, even though we were doing the distance learning. So this was kind of what it ended up like. You can see him doing a separation test. He actually does it pretty well. Some of them don't do it very well. And you can really find out, okay, this guy can listen, this guy teachable in the moment, maybe not, things like that. The guy's got his dog in the background. So these are all really short. You can see he's taking a step which wasn't in the test. He shouldn't be doing that. And that's pretty much how it works. And I can do comments on every one of these. So that's Flipgrid, very quick. And we gave them about 5 different discussions that they had to show us that they knew what we were talking about over videos that we had covered in class. Okay, and like a lot of you guys, we use Huddle for pretty much everything, all the different practices.
Okay, so we're just going to hop right into it. So
let me get this off there. Our live BP practices, we video all those. That way we can break them down with the kids and things like that, and they have access to it. That's the big thing. So, some of the stuff that we talked about.
So we're just gonna hop right into it.
Self-grading. He's gonna hop right into it. So what we did is, again, we gave him different topics, things that we had covered in class, and this was right after we went through bat lag, good bat lag, bad bat lag, and they had to go in and go into Huddle or Screencastify and actually start to grade themselves on what they were doing right, what they were doing wrong. And this guy's a great example. It took a long time for him to get through. I can't remember how long it was. This one, 6 minutes, is about the longest one. He does a great job.
So first of all, we're going to see our swing without me talking. I want to get it.
And he gets in
somewhere in this area. That's
with the drawing and everything else. So
that's what I'm trying to do.
So again, a great example of trying to have them explain to you what they learned through the videos. Here's let me get out of this one. Here's another one, separation and hanging back. It's kind of hard to hear him. He wasn't able to use Screencastify, so what he did is he got it from Huddle.
And I can.
Let's see if we got some other guys. Carlos did it different. He did it with text. He was looking at separation and hanging back. Here's the same kid I showed you a while ago.
My name is
This one didn't come out as good. It comes out better in the video that he actually sent me. So again, really with Huddle, we pretty much.
And
we pretty much do all of our live BPs, tons of bullpens. Let me see. We keep a lot of the exit velo, mainly to throw onto Twitter. So with our pocket radar, which I'll talk about hopefully a little bit later, we're trying to get anything decent off the pocket radar. That way we can put it on Twitter. So there was a good one. I think that's why we actually put that one on there. Bullpens, everything. We've got everything. So here's all the different pitchers, bullpens. So again, we use Huddle really for practice more than anything else. We'll film some of the scrimmages early on, but we usually use it just for practice. Okay, looking at showcasing your kids, some of the ways that we do it, and some of these just tie in together. So Twitter, we send everything out. So any top 10, any off-season results, anything that the kids have on Twitter, we will retweet it. Anything that we film in practice, we'll send it out. Good stuff, of course. All right, virtual combine, I'll kind of go over that. Field level. That's one that you can use also, and then blast motion, which will kind of all tie in together when we do this. So looking at Twitter, for us, our Twitter site, we have all kinds of stuff over here. I've got a couple of guys doing the 2-ball drill video that we went over in class. But these are some, I went back and retweeted some of the older ones that we had. That guy that I was talking about at the beginning, that got a full ride, got 2 offers, and it came off of Twitter. I don't know if it was this exact tweet that we sent out, but and it's important to do it the right way. Is once you film it, we sent it on. We added pocket radar to it. We added flat ground bats, which is another great tool, sending it out to a lot of different people, and then our athletic site. So this was one of his swings here. We send out pretty much everything. This is when our captains were presenting, trying to explain why they should be captain of the team. This is a great way to kind of motivate kids to show up after school every day. So what we did was we took pictures of all the guys who lifted on their own after school, and we would send that out every day. So that was kind of just of a marker for us. We could tell who actually was there every single day and who wasn't there. This is one of our kids that did virtual combine. And then this is one that a kid actually sent to me, and then I retweeted out. So this is a good example of trying to, and this is one of our sophomores and his virtual combine, which we'll go into right now. So, it's amazing the amount of stuff that you can do in these virtual combines, as long as you get your school to pay for it and everything else. So, here's his kind of like just a little bit of a profile breakdown. So you got his Twitter handle, you got his name. If he's committed, as he registered in NCAA, he just went to a camp, and they did it. It was one of those services they provided at the camp for the premier. And, you can look at the different stats that they took, his ratings, how he performed. So, he was a little bit higher than average. This is the video from the camp when they were actually playing. So, and it goes into a lot more than this. It'll go into, you can do your whole off season on here and have leaderboards versus everybody throughout Texas. So it's pretty amazing what they can do at Virtual Combine. If you have a chance, get in contact with those guys. So that's another way that we try and shoot these guys out as much as possible. Virtual Combine kind of does that for you. And Blast Motion is another one that we're going to use a ton of this year if we ever get back into the cages. So really, I've only got one guy that have been able to film. And what Blast Motion will do, this is I can go into our roster and all that other stuff, but this is the kid we had last year that did the virtual combine, Abraham Alvarez. He was a senior last year. And what you have is this is his swing plane, connection, and rotation. So the thing that he did the best at was his actual rotation. So swing plane, the neat thing about it is you can look at his best ones. So here's the video and the breakdown and all the data and everything else. So that's really showing his best swings. You can go to his average swings and the ones that were rated pretty low and maybe see the difference in the three. But the great thing about Blast Motion is it gives you drills for each one that we're talking about. So plane, here's all the different drills for trying to work on your swing plane, connection. Again, it's got all of his different ones that he kind of rated low on that. And then rotation was his highest one, and these were his best ones for rotation. Okay, so it's an amazing tool, and we're really looking forward to using it as much as possible as soon as we get back to the cages. And then the last one, this one was really good. We used it a lot last year, and I was kind of surprised at how many coaches actually got in contact with me over the summer for using this. This is just kind of like this is a field level. So this is kind of just the dash here. This is like just the feed of all the different things that are going on, what kids have added to it. So one of our kids added, so if a coach comes in, they can come in and look at his short clip on his swing. And let me try to go to a roster. And let me go down to a kid who's kind of worked a lot on his. This guy was a freshman last year for us. And you can kind of see this is kind of what the coach is going to, once you give them permission to go in and look at their profile, it gives you a chance to put in input into their profile. And then, of course, kind of the same thing here. They just add links. So this was him over the summer. And it's a great way for coaches to be able to come in here and look at all the different videos and things like that. Like I said, a lot of coaches contacted me over the summer, asking about kids that we had on here. So that was another big one for us. Okay, so one of the big things our athletic director wanted us to do, during this distance learning is, work on a lot of character building, different videos, tests, things like that. And one of the things I wanted to do was find out about my kids' baseball IQ, try and get them to learn as much as possible, even if it was just small things. So, we had a lot of time to do that. We're still doing that pretty much every week. And the way that we did that with the character building and with really baseball IQ is through Ed Puzzle, which I'll show you how we use that. And then we used 2 words mainly because, Texas High School Coach Association gave us those videos, those 2-word videos, which are really good. And we broke down into different parts and then had questions that the kids needed to answer. And one of the other things that I've always used is Quizlet. Didn't use it so much for baseball, but started to do that now that we kind of had the time to do these things, and use Quizlet for almost everything. The great thing about Quizlet is you're playing more games with it than you are anything else. So some of the things that we did, and going into Ed Puzzle, it's a program that you can get for free, or if your school purchases it, then you get unlimited amount of videos, which luckily for us, they did for distance learning. So baseball wise, kind of the way we used it is any of those videos that we get from Coaches Insider or anything, I'm turning into a quiz. So this is a coach from Notre Dame, and really
stance and relationship to the plate, very important. I think it is under evaluated. I think sometimes guys play too far, it affects the stride. I'm not as concerned with front to back as side to side.
Okay, so that's kind of where I wanted to get to, is what we're doing is inserting questions, as the video goes, and the kids are going to have to answer. So they've got to kind of pay attention to what's going on, and that's kind of the way we use Ed Puzzle. So I think this one had something like 12 different questions on it. So this is kind of a swing checklist, and again, this went back to all the different things that we were talking about, making the kids accountable. So I get to see their grade at the end, So it was pretty amazing, all the different things. So here's that, and it'll tell me how many kids did it, turned it in, and then I think the great part that I found in this was more or less, the long answers that the kids gave me. So, when the character building ones, their open-ended questions were amazing. And, I would read some in class and things like that. And, it was kind of eye-opening, so we looked at a lot of different, this is another on-base use stuff, and it, again, goes through.
Is to have them start from different stances. Start from an open stance and prepare to skip a rock off the top of the mound.
Okay, and then it's got your questions there. It looks a little bit different for the kids, and they can't skip it like I can. I can skip it through. I can skip through and everything else. So that's how we did the baseball part of Ed Puzzle, and then the character building part. Again, we used kind of the same basic idea. We would use this was the second part of 2 words, big question, and pretty much the same thing.
Better than being content, but it's not as good as being more. If they've got more in the tank, they're going to give more, and they're going to work hard, and they're going to sacrifice, and they're going to start to pay the price, and they're going to be vocal, and they're going to be driving
Okay, so very short questions and then open-ended questions, and again, it was really eye-opening, some of the answers that these kids gave. So
leading by example, but the motivation behind the committed teammate is that they're committed to their own success.
okay, so again, that's kind of how that works. So that's how we use Edpuzzle to do two different things: test the kids on what we were going over in class, and then to provide a character building. And it was pretty much hands off for us. So the kids were watching the videos and they were answering the questions, and we didn't, I didn't have to mess with them all. It was just something that they turned in, and the program graded it itself. So it was really easy. It was really another time saver, really, is what it was. And then Quizlet, this is another one where you just set up the quizzes, and there's so many different things that you can do with it. I've got my geography class, my history class in here, and then non-school that ended up being baseball. And again, going to the hitting checklists, every video that we had, if there was something that they said that I thought could be turned into a term, then I did it. So negative move. Okay, so with a pitcher, first movement away from the pitcher, toe touch. They need to know, what it looks like and what it means. And we had, so these are the terms that they would study. And tomorrow they actually have their final over it. So these are all the different terms. And actually you can go into Quizlet, and if you look it up, hitting checklist terms, you can use it at any time. All this stuff is free also. So just turn it into kind of like a vocabulary list. And really we compete with teams. We compete individual. They have a gravity game where the kids have to type in the answer before asteroid comes down. The one that we play all the time is match, and all you're trying to do is match up, like hanging back, okay, and try and make them all disappear, drift. So all the different things, and again, you can pretty much play. I think it's something like 4. You can take a test over it. You can have them write it out, all the different things. And they really love the live. That's when the Quizlet automatically puts them on teams, and then they compete. Usually there's about 10 teams with 40 kids in the class. So Quizlet was another big one for us that we used a ton. And I thought it worked really well with the pictures and with the definitions to go along with the videos that we've been showing in class every time. All right, so our communication with parents, players and parents, the two things that we use, and I use this every single day, Sports U, just the way they've got it set up, is really simple, and I really can't believe that it's a free program. And then this year we were forced to use Google Classroom a lot, mainly because our kids had already been integrated in, and we were doing the distance learning. So it was also very easy to send things out. That was more for the kids and assignments and everything else. But Sports U is really what we use pretty much for everything communication wise. It's easy to sign up. It's really easy to send stuff out, easy to get things back. So this is our feed here. What you're really looking at is this stuff right here is it's really nice. This is your home chat if you're going to talk with like maybe one player. Calendar is really good. Put your schedule in there. Folders, you can actually keep all of your, you can store all of your practice plans and everything else in there. So, whenever I send something out to the kids, it also shows up over here as a file, which is really nice. So that can be used any time if I wanted to use the same file and things like that. So this is our baseball feed, and what you're seeing is a lot of stuff that I've sent from Twitter. Anytime I see something on Twitter that I really like, I send it to the kids immediately. Our off-season standings, pretty much anything that I feel like they need to know. This is what our uniforms are going to look like, things like that. So that's the feed sent to the kids. And then if I also have the parents on here, and I'm selective of what I send to the parents. I don't want to flood them with a bunch of different stuff. But we keep them updated on the standings every week. A lot of the same stuff that goes to the kids goes to the parents, but also, some of the stuff I don't send to the parents. I don't send a lot of the Twitter stuff to the parents. I mainly send that to the kids. So that's how we communicate with our kids, is through Sports U. Very simple, very easy for them to join. You can send them a code. You can invite them through their email, all the different things. And then, so my team is here, and then all the different groups that I'm part of. I'll be part a lot more than probably most people. This is our Valley group. This is the area, or the Associate Scouts in Texas, the Padres. And then all the kids that I work out for the Padres, and then all the different, regions and things like that for Texas High School Baseball Coaches Association. And then I've also joined the Texas High School Coach Association Region 7, which is our local one. So that's kind of how it works. And again, it's fantastic. Again, another big time saver. So if you're not joined up on Sports U, you're really missing out. And then this year, like I said, the thing that we really used a lot also, we were forced to. I didn't use Google Classroom for baseball last year at all. It was all Sports U. But since we had to do so many assignments, this is just the stream here. This is just stuff that I send the kids. So there's the standings again. Here's all of our On Base U articles that I went over 3 of them. I think it was on Tuesday. Our Quizlet checklist. This is what they're testing on, what they can play the different games on. And then the On Base U, Don Slott, and whoever else I wanted to playlists from YouTube. But you can see we'll pretty much throw everything on there. One thing that we did that I really liked is 2 times a week or 1 time a week, we actually separated. So, what we ended up doing is actually, let me get out of this here. So I worked with the infielders. So the infielders would join another class. And so we would have pretty much breakout sessions. I would take the infielders, another coach would take the outfielders, another coach would take the catchers, then another coach would take the pitchers. And that way we could just go over specific things dealing with their positions and stuff like that. So that helped out a lot. We got to, for really the first time, we got to kind of split up, break up, but still be all together. So Google Classroom, was really good when you're looking at all the different, and these were the assignments that I gave to the infielders. But going back to the main one, which is our main class, you can see all the classwork that so here's all the character building. So all of the ed puzzles, the 2 words. We have a lot of different competitions we make the kids do, and they'll send us videos. This is their final exam. They're getting ready to take the hitting checklist. Coach put some outfielder stuff in here just in case we had guys that are crossover. We're watching The Last Dance also, and I've got questions over that. Here's your field level link. These were the self-grading videos that they had to turn in. We were keeping track of how much they were running, and this was put into the run tracker. And we kept standings and everything else. So this was our distance running. We couldn't, I'd hate to see them really running miles and distance and things like that, but it was the only thing we could track and on an app that we use Runkeeper. We used the Runkeeper app, and that told me exactly how much they ran using GPS and everything else. So we would much rather be doing sprints and things like that, but we kind of had to judge them on distance, and that's just the way it was. You do what you can. Here's all the different Quizlet sets. We even did baseball cards. So it doesn't have to be stuff that, straight pertains to situations and things like that. We, try to have a little fun with them. So they had to recognize the different Topps cards from 1951 to 1980, which was kind of neat. Flip grid videos, those was ones real short that they turned in. And then our workouts, which we had to do, we had to do that in class through Google Meets and Zoom and things like that. We had all the different workouts that we were doing in class. So, and again, just like everything else, we linked it we linked it. We had 2 workouts that we were doing, and we just pretty much started the 2 workouts about 3 weeks ago. All of our highlight videos are on YouTube, and I'll show you that once I get to YouTube. And then the player forms. This was just kind of the orientation for the class and everything else. So that's kind of how we set up our Google Classroom. Again, I really like the part to where we actually got to break up and split up the different coaches and go over different positions and things like that. So that's Sports U. Okay, really you can do everything on Sports U. And then our Google Classroom, how we had to use it for our distance learning, but you can use that. You can use it every day for your study hall, your athletic class, whatever you're. All right, so this is another thing. It wasn't actually in the introduction, and I forgot to put it in there. But the way we collect a lot of data is through Google Forms, almost as much as Excel. I use Google Forms pretty much for everything, especially in my class. But we use it a lot for baseball. If there's any information that you need and you don't want to be sitting there writing it down or typing it in, just have the kids do it. So we use Google Forms for, all equipment pickup. I use it for ordering, for everything. So I'll give you a couple examples of what we do. So this was my bid list for this year. So the way I do it, I don't know if anybody else does it the same way, is I make a Google form. I ask for the company's name, the contact person, their cell number, and then I actually give them the description. This is exactly what I want. So they're going to type in their answer. That way I'm not, running around getting papers and stuff like that. So all the different things that I wanted to order, these I have it kind of categorized into balls with the first section, and then the different types of gloves that we were looking for. So it kind of gives you an idea. And it's got the exact description. It's got a picture of it, so they can't say, well, I didn't know what you're talking about, or send me something different than what I actually wanted. So those are all the different things that I'm looking for. And all you do is, what I did was, we have a vendors list and we have a buy board, and I email it to every single vendor that's on those 2. And as you can see here, I got 21 companies that responded, of the, 60 that I sent out. Some people just can't bid on certain things. So it's really, really easy. What ends up happening is they'll type in their responses, and then you'll actually get a live spreadsheet. And I think, I took the company's names out here. So, and so what you have is you end up with a spreadsheet. Now yours won't have color in it. It'll just have the responses, whatever you need. But the way that I do it is like this. So you can tell exactly what it is. Order 10 dozen game balls, the Diamond D1 NFHS, Noxie baseball, and the lowest bid. I color code it myself. I put in a formula to color code it, which is real simple too. And the darkest green is the one that's the lowest price. So, I can tell on each one, our practice balls, dimple balls, the molded foam balls that we use a lot of. So, if you wanted to open it up and look at the whole thing, then it's there. But this is an easy way for us to get the best price on as much stuff as we can. Because our school, most of the time, will ask for 3 bids. I don't know if anybody else is that way. And that way I can actually, get the cheapest bid pretty quick. This way I know exactly what it's going to be, and all the way through. So that's everything that we wanted to try and order. We're not going to get to order everything, but pretty close to that. So very easy to read. The other thing that we use forms for is equipment checkout. So on this, what we have right here is, it's another Google form. And what we do is we'll send the link to the kids, but I'll also show you what else we do. We put it up in the locker room. But this was just our first one. So really, this is very short. You're getting the kid's email address, the first name, last name, cell number, parent cell number. And then we get their locker number, we get their lock. I tell them exactly, what number I'm looking for. That's a picture of our locks. And then their combination, the number that's on their shorts, and the number that's on the shorts. So this is right at the beginning of the year. This is, again, our first checkout. And again, it's very simple. So the responses that you're going to get, okay, it's going to give you a spreadsheet. And so you're not having to do this by hand anymore. Okay, so it's got the kids' names, their cell numbers, their lock number, their everything on here. So instantly you've got it, that first day, and you don't have to worry about it anymore. And there's always something that bothers us, kids forgetting their combinations and all that other stuff. And we do it through all of our equipment that we give out, socks, shoes. We'll make them put their sizes on there. Any uniform number. So it's something that you can use for a lot of different things. And again, it's going to save a lot of time. You don't have coaches sitting there trying to fill all that stuff out. So this is what we put up in the locker room. So, you can put it up in one spot, or you can put it up in 3 different spots. So the kids come in, and if they didn't have the link on their phone sent through SportsU, then all they do is, put their phone up against the scanner code, and it'll take them right to the form that they need to fill it out. So that makes it real simple. The kids already know it. So when we hand out stuff, they'll bring their phones, and they'll put their phone up there and get ready to check everything out. Okay, so kind of the way that we use YouTube, I kind of just use it as a reference a lot of times. That way, things that we might talk about in class, they have something that they can go to and see at any time. So just kind of a quick run through of how we use YouTube. These I kind of mentioned already. So these are.
What we have here is make the lineup.
Okay, that's one of our practices. So this, and I put them into playlists. Let me go back. So I'm looking at our playlist right now. So really, these are just groups of videos that I've put together. And so if I want to say, okay, here's 2 of our practice plans, kids, I can send them this link, and it'll send them. It'll send them these 2 different practices that we have. So that's one of the ways we use it. Another one was really important for us. These are all the videos that I showed so far in class on hitting. And so it's an easy place to store all the ones. So all the Don slot, all the on base U, Fernando Tatis, slow motion, all the different things that we actually wanted them to learn with our hitting checklist that we were testing on, that they had to make their own self-grading videos on. It's all in one spot. So I can just send them that playlist, and they have it. It's in our Google Classroom. It's also in the SportsU. So infielders, I did the same thing. So all the videos that I showed the infielders, it's in a playlist kept together. All the kids that turned in their bat lag videos, it's going to be in here. So here's all the different kids that had their different bat lags. That way it's easy to group together. You can have it in huddle. Sometimes things that work in huddle don't work in YouTube, so you end up having to do some different things. This one we tested the kids on all of our defensive. Go over part 2. All of our defensive situations, and what it is. It's actually me going through all the different situations that we can go into, and it's in left field. Center fielder's trying to back up. Shortstop's going to be the relay man the whole time. Okay, you can see second baseman covering second base. So rule remains the same. Everybody's moving towards the ball. So it's several different videos. Runner on first, no runners on, things like that, and we keep them here. Again, kid, maybe kid wants to go back and reference it. What he didn't understand what was going on in practice. It goes through what every single player is doing, where they're supposed to be, what they're supposed to be saying, things like that. So again, putting it back onto the kids. Hey, you didn't understand this cutoff relays. This is how we're doing it in practice. This is the way we do it. If you still have a problem with it, you can go watch the video, and it's all to ours. We go over everything, first and third, bunt, all those other things, but you got to keep the ones that you want to keep private. You got to keep those private and not let everybody see them. But, cutoffs, relays, that's the same pretty much for everybody. So these videos we use, and, on this one, I got closed caption on and everything else for our kids that might have a tougher time with the language. Makes it a little bit easier for them. So that's another thing that we do is we have the situations all broken down into videos. Here's another one. Here's the separation, hanging back videos that the kids did. And then we actually have, we bought last year, we bought a TV for the locker room, and we have, I just went in and grabbed all the motivational videos that I could possibly find on baseball, and even ours are in here. A lot of our clips that, Jaime Garcia, who played for us, a lot of TCU stuff, but then all of our highlights also are in here. And this is played on a loop in our locker room. If I'm not trying to show them something, then we have this TV in the locker room that has these motivational videos, and our kids, anytime we're on TV or something like that, it has those videos playing over and over again. So that and the kids really like that, like sitting in the locker room and watching all the motivational videos. Gives them something to do other than being on their phone. Let's see what else we use on YouTube. Really, that's kind of it. It's just a great way to, combine the videos that you want to give to the kids all to see. Also a great way to explain different parts of practice or situations and things like that. And then, again, like we use the motivational videos just as a loop. And I think this thing is almost, probably like 6 hours long. So it takes a while to get through the whole thing. So that's how we use YouTube. We use it as a learning tool. Also, we try and put as many of the kids' videos on there. That way a coach says, hey, you got video on this guy. I can send them a link real quick. I don't have to look through all my files and things like that. So that's kind of how we use YouTube. Okay, and last but not least, if you need any help, I'm more than willing to, if you get stuck on something. If you want to try some of those charts, I'll give you some ideas here in just a second, what you might want to do on your own, or if you just want to get them from me, let me know. But here's my contact information, bbickerton@sharelandisd.org. Twitter, the two different ones we have. Personal one is at AustyBear47, and then our baseball site is at Sherry Baseball. And then the charts website, which I'll show you here in just a second, it's a free Google site, so you can create your own Google, and it's very simple. And it's the Bix lineup. Let me get out of here. So this is kind of what it looks like. If you go into that, this is what you're going to see. And it's got all the different types of charts that I've made. It doesn't have all of them, but it has a lot of them. So the digital lineup cards that I showed you, where you just fill out the one card and it fills everything out. It's got some different examples of different schools that I've done. It's got how to use it on here, that video from YouTube. Situational BP charts. I think I need to add a couple on here also. These are all of our charts that we use for situational. And, you can customize them yourself. It's how to on the situational. This is what we call our bases loaded situational hitting chart. We just put in there, make the lineup, which I showed you also on the videos early. Survivor. It's got the video from YouTube, and then it's got the how we do our charts. So there's somebody on your staff that can figure a lot of these out. And again, if you can't, then let me know. These are bullpen charts, who's throwing, what catchers. And then this is my son's chart for his alternative command bullpen. That's a whole nother lecture though. But this is the way we put these up in the dugout. Those are bullpen charts. Scouting charts, this is the one that most people actually ask for. So our scouting charts have the spray chart with all the different at bats down here at the bottom, stolen base attempts, bunt attempts, what they swing. For us, we really want to know if they swing first pitch. This is a pitching chart that we use during the game. What counts, what pitches a pitcher, what pitches a certain pitcher is going to throw in certain counts. And then this is a chart that I'll make before the game, that I can have just the one coaching chart there that has all of their hitters on there. So I kind of use the whole booklet to break it down into one, and that's what I have with me when we're playing. And it shows you how to use the charts on YouTube. Also, these were some that some coaches wanted. These were the extended ones, kind of like the pro scouting charts. Did it for Palm View, did it for Decatur. Practice plans, all the different practice plans. PSA had a little bit different setup than ours. So I came in and kind of customized it to his practice plan. Then I gave him our practice plan, also the way we set it up. This was that weekly checklist that I told you about, checking everything off, making sure that you're staying in there. Inter-squad charts. So this is very similar to the digital ones up at the top. You just type in your lineup here, the opposing lineup on this side, and everything else pretty much fills in. You have the chart for the dugout. This is what the kids will put in the dugout when we separate them into inter-squad. The Decatur coach kind of gave me some ideas on that one, which came out pretty good. These are our tryout forms. So these are what we put in the halls before we have tryouts. This is our format, how we do the tryouts. So the kids that are coming in for tryouts, they know exactly what they're doing, where they're lining up. And then this is how we grade them down here with our tryout form. We go from 1 to 5 on the different 4 different sections that we grade them on. And then there's just tons of other ones, because I've got a whole different, this was a pitch count chart. And again, I think a lot of these are the same here, but you can, if you want to get ideas on, how to do different charts and things like that, there's some great ideas in here. Even how we set up for double BP is in here. So again, if you want to do this on your own, try and copy some of these things, I've got no problem. This is our what we're doing for pitchers workout. That's down in the bullpen. Catchers workout, what they need to do on their own if they're down there and we're not really working with them at the time. They can then again, there's inter squad. All of our weight room workouts, we have them set up exactly the way we want the kids to set up. So there's so many different things, and then some of the stuff that we actually charts that we have, like quality at bat. This was when I was at Port Isabel that we put up in the dugout. There's the tryout stuff. These were our different hitting groups. Here's our practice plans, what the coaches have. This is also put up in the dugout. So this is our defensive drill day. So those are some, not all of the charts, but that's quite a few when you look at it. So if you want to go in there and look at, try and get some ideas from it. If not, just get a hold of me. I'm not gonna make a custom chart for you for free, but we'll figure something out. So, and that's it. Like I said, you can get a hold of me. I didn't put my phone number on there because I will not answer if I don't know who it is. Best way to get a hold of me is email or text me. So hopefully you guys got something out of this. I know it's very different probably from any other clinic talk, but hopefully you can get at least one thing.